I poured the Polynesian sauce on top of it and like stirred it all together.
See, just can't leave these alone. The mac and cheese is good as it is.
You've never had hey y'all, you've never had chicken mac and cheese?
No.
It's actually pretty good. I tried it at a restaurant and I was shocked how good it was.
Yeah.
It is really good. It's just mac and cheese with meat inside of it. That's all. It's like lasagna.
I mean, I can get with that, but then the Polynesian sauce on top of it,
It's good.
I feel like that's too many flavors going on.
It's actually it makes it sweet, a little sweeter. Hey y'all.
Yeah.
Some people put like hot sauce on there to make it spicy and stuff. Welcome to Maximize Monday. We sitting here talking. I'm eating lunch. I had delayed today. It was delayed today, so and I'm hungry and no. Where's Sandra?
I don't think I would like it. Hey, Sandra.
Do you like Polynesian sauce? The Chick-fil-A Polynesian sauce?
I don't think I've ever had their Polynesian sauce.
It's good.
I only get their Chick-fil-A sauce.
The Polynesian sauce is really good.
Yeah, it's
You would like
sweet.
it 'cause it's sweet. Hmm?
I'll give it a try. I won't diss it just yet, but something tells me it's not going to be to my liking.
You mean this whole mixture or just the Polynesian sauce?
The mixture.
Oh. Well, I can't rely on your taste buds. You're weird. Hey, Tiffany. How you doing?
Hey. They're not that weird.
Hey, Kife.
Hi, Kife.
How y'all doing? Well, we told y'all when we moved this to 12, it might be a chat and chew sometimes. So
I know. I wasn't prepared. I didn't eat my breakfast yet, so I should have cooked up a pancake or something.
So you can be weird and slice them all in
In triangles.
instead of just cutting it and just eating. You got to slice it all in even
No, that's
even
harder.
slices.
Yeah.
Weirdo. How y'all doing? Come on in so we get started on serious conversations. Kevin, join us today or that's next week?
Next week, probably. You're just stuck with me today, Pastor Nick.
Oh, the agony. The agony. Welcome, everybody, to Maximize Monday. We're so glad that you can join us on this lovely Monday afternoon. January, it's like really the second week of January. It's going quick.
I know, time's gone already. Hey, Sid.
What's up, Sid?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Time is gone.
I know. It's something. But God's good, and we're just glad that you all have joined us this morning. And we hope that God's blessing will be on you, and you will have a great day today. As always, as I posted earlier today, some Mondays I had to remind myself, this is still the day the Lord has made. We'll rejoice. Because part of me's like, let me stay home today. I did not feel like coming in today.
Yeah, Mondays are always just a little bit rough. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Some Mondays are cool, some aren't. So before I had kids, it used to be more relaxing. What's up, Darrell?
Yeah.
It used to be more relaxing. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff. I can take my time, get in when I want, when I'm ready, go to the gym before COVID, and before kids.
Mm-hmm.
These children change your whole life. So y'all come on in and share. Don't forget, Rami, I got to send you something for Friday and see if we'll do it. I don't know if y'all bougie millennials can relate to it. We'll see. So last week we started talking about possibilities. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember the whole conversation. We kind of talked about a lot about those 5 or 6 things. I can't remember what they are. Go back and watch last week's one.
All right.
That we all need to consider. I think something we alluded to in the discussion yesterday with Bishop was we want everything to be a miracle. And that's not how God works all the time.
Mm-hmm.
God will give you a plan. He'll ask you to sacrifice. He exposes the possibilities. Oh, cool. We got food bank this Friday from 9 a.m. to 1. All right. So if you need food, the family in need of food, not because you don't feel like going shopping, but in need of food, we have a food bank this Friday from 9 to 1. have we mapped out, okay, this is possible. This is what it's going to take for me to get there.
Mhm.
You know, this is what's going to cost. If I want to write this book, it's possible. What do I have to do to get there? Write, study, you know, etc.
Yeah.
The other thing, which is big, is are we willing to pay the price to reach said possibility?
Mhm.
And a lot of people, it's not that we, how can I say this? It's not that we lack passion and desire. We lack commitment and sacrifice.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest one right there. Is the lack of
Definitely.
commitment, lack of sacrifice.
Because there's things that we don't want to let go of that we know we need to let go of in order to get to where we want to be,
Yep.
and that can be a major hurdle.
Yeah, and what we're basically saying is that the price is too high to pay for what God has for us. That's basically what
Mhm.
we're saying. Really, when you think about it, like
Yeah.
God has this whole life for me, and this is too high of a price. I don't want to pay that price to be that person or to
Mhm.
achieve that thing. But if you look at really Christianity is a life of sacrifice. Take up your cross and follow.
Right.
If any man comes after me, he must die to himself first. It's a life of sacrifice. And in order to achieve what you want to achieve, there is a huge sacrificial element to it.
Mhm.
And the question is, are we willing to pay that price to go through that process to get? Again, it's not that most of us, we don't lack talent. We have desire.
Right.
Problem is we don't go through with the desire. Or watch this, we live off passion alone. And then when we're struggling with our passion, since we have no commitment, we drop out. But commitment will
Mhm.
keep you when passion isn't working right.
Mhm.
When our desires are off, commitment will keep us in. You know, commitment will keep us moving forward.
Yeah. And I think something that you and Bishop spoke on yesterday was just the process. Just the process of that. It actually takes time and work and effort to, make things happen. Sometimes
Yeah,
scares people off. But it's not always about the instant gratification because sometimes it takes that trial and error, beating your head up against the wall until you get to where you're trying to get to.
yeah, yeah. It, and knowing that, something we talked about last actually yesterday. Um, it takes time also,
Mhm.
and most of us don't want to take the time. We want to be an overnight sensation, which is absolutely ludicrous, because there is no such thing as an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as that. The people that we admire, we think they came out of nowhere, but they've been working at it for years. You're just figuring out who they are.
Mhm.
The world is finally seeing who this person is, but they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Most of the people who are really good at what they do, they're in that 20 plus range of 20 plus years of doing it.
Mhm.
You know, that's the thing. We caught them and noticed them when they've been refined, made new, perfected, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Yo, where did they?"
Going through some things.
Right. If you listen to their first sermon or look at their first business or whatever, it just compared to where they are, it
Yeah.
light years away.
Mhm.
So are you saying something? Yeah.
No, it's true, and I think sometimes we take for granted like the early process of the process because we get nitpicky and we compare ourselves to how someone is after, like you said, those 20 years of experience. And so we just shut down,
Yeah.
and you're not allowing yourself the time to get there.
Yeah,
And you're not, go ahead.
because I mean, you're kind of skipping a little bit too.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay. It's not your fault. You can't control the internet. Um, uh, I hear you, but your face is kind of like you're talking, but you're frozen. Like,
Well, that's how I am in real life too. So,
um, but hey Helene, how you doing? Hey Sonia. So I mean, it requires that willingness to sacrifice. Now, there are some people. To answer Sid's question, he said some take the term life of sacrifice to the extreme. How do people figure out how to correct balance? Now,
Mm.
Let's work this out. When it comes to God and our salvation, God doesn't ask for part of us. He asks for all of us.
Yeah.
So our constant life is a life of sacrifice, giving up our lives so we can experience his life, dying
Mm-hmm.
daily to us so we can experience the life that God has for us. And the Bible consistently shows us that when we do this, the life he can give us is far greater than the life that we could ever give ourselves.
Yeah.
Because if you save your life, you'll lose it. But if you lose your life, you'll gain a whole nother one.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that life of sacrifice. So I'm going to take it to business in a minute. But when it comes to our walk with God, God wants all of us. Paul, I'm
Mm-hmm.
crucified with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, I live. He didn't say part of me. I'm crucifying all of me
Mm-hmm.
so I can live for him and with him. I'm
Mm-hmm.
giving up everything to follow Jesus. Evangelist Maya, you've been elevated. I'm giving up everything.
Oh, praise the Lord.
Come on, call her, call her. Giving up everything to follow Jesus. Right? Now, as it relates to like business and career and stuff, balance is an ebb and flow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't give anything 100% because that's too much tension.
Yeah.
Uh, so what it's like is, so say, when Power of God comes up, my life is like this for a whole week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at church majority of the day, majority of the time. I'm home short times, sleep, do some stuff real quick, come right back. But when the week is over, it kind of,
It goes out.
you know, something happens, family member, life goes like this, you know, and eventually, balances out some. So
Mm-hmm.
it's prioritizing a lot in order to maintain some form of balance. The
Yeah.
other thing is those there are some people who feel like I'm going to get to where I want to go no matter the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a casualty of bodies
Mm.
that in their path. They just run
Mm-hmm.
over everybody, leave everybody, don't care about, because their success is more important than everything else. I
Right.
think that's an extreme
Mm-hmm.
because if I'll use for example, if being a good father, a good spouse, a good family member is an act of obedience to God, that means being a good family member is an act of worship.
Mm-hmm.
So if I completely forsake my family to pursue what I've been called to do, I'm only fulfilling part of what God has called me to do.
Right.
I'm not really worshiping God right. So I learned to navigate my priorities of ministry and my passions and my life desires with, I'll use me for example, my family. Now,
Mm-hmm.
my norm, since I don't have a regular 9 to 5 like everybody else, is not the same. So I have to intentionally make time,
Yeah.
intentionally have time. So I don't have a trail of bodies of, you know, my dad was too busy, he was never home, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that. So I don't think we need to. Now I've had people say, they pursue what they want out of life, and it cost them a whole lot of stuff. And now after it's over, they're trying to pick up and fix those things, the damage that they created
Yeah.
along the way. So I think some people are A-type personalities, and their
They just go.
ultimate goal is, hey, I got this goal, I'm gonna get it,
Yeah.
whether I'm married to you, fathered you, friends you my
Mm-hmm.
mama, my dad, I don't care. You don't matter in comparison to this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll run you over to get there. And I think that's a little extreme.
Yeah. Definitely. So it's definitely good to be able to prioritize, like you said. But like you, what if it's just not enough for that person that you're prioritizing for? Like, how do you still balance that out?
It depends on the person. Some people, um, they lack understanding. They
Mhm.
want you to give up what they can't replace. There it is.
Mhm.
The question is, okay, so if I give up all this time, right? Can you replace what I'm going to give up?
Mhm.
If the answer is no, then we need to have a conversation about a middle ground on both.
Mhm.
So I'll let y'all in. And I remember when me and my wife were in premarital counseling, I asked her before we got married, are you sure you want to be married to a pastor because this is what the
Mhm.
life looks like. She's like, oh, I'm sure. So she understood what she was getting into, that I
Yeah.
could be called at 11:30 at nighttime to go to a hospital, which has
Mhm.
happened before. I had to get out of bed,
Mhm.
in the middle of the night and go. That you have to be okay with that reality,
Mhm.
you know. Um, so I think a lot of people want you to give up what they can't replace.
Right.
And then the other flip side is, can what you're pursuing replace what you're giving up too? So, there is that, you know, thing. Remember I
Mhm.
heard a preacher say this years ago. After I get done pastoring, my family's going to be the one to take care of me. So
Mhm.
why would I completely forsake them?
Well, I need them for later.
You know, I-
Yeah.
they're going to be the ones, you know,
Mhm.
putting you in,
Yeah.
doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that again, it goes back down to some priorities.
Mhm.
I was actually thinking about this earlier. I don't know why it popped in my head. Uh, how This wasn't even really the topic today, but we'll run with it. Um,
Yeah.
I know some people who felt some type of way because growing up, their parents were always in church,
Right.
like almost every single day.
Mhm.
When they had games, they never came to the games because they were at church. When they had events, they never came to school events because they were at church. And there was this resentment from these people because, hey Shirley, hey Chef, because they felt like they chose the church and God over them.
Mhm.
That's a real feeling. The balance is, or learning the balance is, trying to prioritize both. Okay, I'll be here for this, but then I'm going to come to your game, or I'll be there by halftime. And that intention across the board is important. But if you
Yeah.
sacrifice, what I'm trying to get to, especially like those of us in ministry, is that we can't use God to sacrifice our families. And
Yeah.
even those in corporate America too, same thing. They
Mhm.
do the same exact thing. But some jobs are demanding, and you have to. I'm raising my kids. You got to leave again? Yes. But I'm teaching them now. Why do I have to leave? You want food, right? Yes.
Mhm.
You asking me for this, right? Yes. How else can I get it? You got to go to work. All right, cool. So,
Yeah.
you know, trying to get them. This is what our norm is. Can't go by everybody
Mhm.
else's house, but this is our norm.
But I wonder though if there's a disconnect between church and going to church as a family. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Because just thinking about my upbringing, like I was in church all the time too, with my parents
So
are
was I.
deacons,
Yeah.
So, but personally, I never felt that they were putting me beside behind their church duties because we always just did church as a family.
Yes. And then if you had something at school, they made it a priority.
Or
You
maybe that's
know,
the problem. I didn't really do I didn't really do
oh,
anything.
sorry, well, you didn't have a life, so that's why. So you only had church.
It was
You
just church.
right. But imagine something like your graduation, right?
Mhm.
You graduate from high school. Oh, Maya, I'm sorry, we got a service.
Do people do that though for real?
Y- It has
Mm,
happened before. Not let me go to the graduation and maybe I'll go to church after church first, then go to graduation and try to,
mm.
work what I got to work out. But imagine looking out in the crowd, every other parent screaming and Maya LaBoo, and everybody's like, crickets, you like, where they at? You feel some type of way.
Mhm.
Um, but I think, for me, same thing. I was in church a lot. My mom was, all those things. I think there is something to doing stuff together that
Mhm.
does help out, but I don't know how we got off at this point, but
I don't know.
I think the norm is different. So as a pastor, I'm not home a 9 to 5 like everybody else. It's just not the reality of the situation. So I make the most of the time that I have with the norm that we have,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to learning how to, look, we got to get in trouble here, balance the whole thing out and still be good followers of Christ, good leaders in church, or good leaders in our career, or good
Mhm.
leaders in, business or whatever you do in your corporate world, and still recognize our family and our personal lives are important also. Because not only do we glorify God by coming to church, being a good steward, being a good employee, we also glorify God by being a good steward of the relationships we have also.
Yeah.
So worship.
That makes sense. That makes sense because I mean we're called to be stewards, like you said, show the love of Christ to others, but we can't really do that if we're not able to do that within our own circle.
Right. And finding that balance. So, that's why, like, for here, we can't speak for other churches, but y'all know y'all can reach out to us, our staff, like, can reach out to us whenever, because that availability has to be there too, to make y'all comfortable enough to know, okay, I can call, I can so-and-so. And, we're very agreeable. As you see yesterday, you said, can you just do this? And he was like, okay. And just tell me what you want and we'll make it work. But I think that helps with the comfort and the stewardship of our relationships too, because that's a part of worship also. Being a good employer, a good employee is a part of worship also. So worship is a whole entire lifestyle, not just part of our lifestyle.
Yep. Not just what's in the church pews, because sometimes people turn it off when they leave those doors.
Yeah. And learning how to do all of it. We're supposed to be talking about I'm possible, but we
I
are.
know possibilities.
we are though, because we're talking
possible
about the
to
We're talking about the sacrifice part of it. It's gonna cost something, but you have to pick it. What do they say about regret? Regret weighs tons or something like that. You gotta pick the thing that you can live with, if I can say it like that.
Yeah.
And learn to can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's better. I couldn't hear you good.
So
learning. Sorry, good.
Okay, Amber had a question. How do you not get mentally fatigued on the divide and trying to balance, say, church, work, family, etc.?
Well, a few things. The Bible says in Psalm 23, he restores my soul, which means that along the journey, there are going to be times when you get tired, mentally, emotionally, physically. And that's what we need the Lord to restore us when we get tired on the inside. So it's not that we will never get mentally fatigued. It's just what we do when we get mentally fatigued. Now, sometimes the mental fatigue comes from your body telling you, sit your hips down for a minute, take a nap, right? Because there are times where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sleep in today. I'm gonna try to sleep in, and I'll start my work after I sleep in.
Yeah.
And that extra hour gives me more of a boost. I feel better to go out and do what I got to do. So you got to think about that too. We're interrelated. Your body, soul, spirit, all that's connected together.
Yeah.
And one affects the other, because scripturally, actually, they're seen as one thing. What makes us human is that we have a body. We're body and soul. We're connected. We're integrated beings. So knowing when to, something I started doing again. God's okay with you having something to help relax you besides prayer and read the Bible. I know some people may call me sacrilegious here, but it's true.
Something healthy.
Right, something healthy. So you prioritize prayer, you prioritize spending time with God, you prioritize scripture, and then maybe you'll spend a half hour doing something that's mindless. I'm back to reading. I'm reading Harry Potter now. Those 30 minutes of reading takes my mind off of, and I just kind of engrossed in this world. And that's a mental break. I'm not putting that before spending time with God, but it's just something that I do.
I think sometimes people feel guilty in that there is that need there that you have to take a step back.
Here it is. The Bible says, "Remember the Sabbath and keep it." Right?
Mhm.
Why do we, when we look at the Ten Commandments,
Mhm.
why do we look at don't lie as literal, don't covet your neighbor as literal, all, but then when it comes to the Sabbath, oh, that's figurative.
Mhm.
Obviously, God's trying to show us something, that rest, a Sabbath, a moment where there's rest in the break, is to show us that we don't live off our hard work.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. We live off the grace of God and his provision for us. So, do we have a Sabbath? You may not be able to have a whole day to relax and do nothing, but
Mhm.
you could take a few hours and say, you know what, this is my few hours just to
Mhm.
take a break. I'm just saying, why do we take all the other nine commandments literal and then that one and
Yeah.
just say, hmm, you know,
Mhm.
it's okay to take a break sometimes, as long as it doesn't get in the way of your priorities.
Well, maybe it comes down to that we don't really value ourselves to say, okay, we need to take this time.
Yeah, and just say, cool, today's I have times where it's like, okay, it's okay. I have times where it's like, I will let some calls go to voicemail unless it's really important. I'll call you
Mhm.
back when I'm done. But right now, this is my time
Mhm.
to read or watch a movie, or whatever. Uh, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Uh, so, but I think mental fatigue is a part of the process at times, and then what we do with it, asking God to
Mhm.
restore our souls, asking Him to
Mhm.
refresh us when we're tired on the inside, asking Him to work all that stuff out. All that is very important, um, to helping us with our mental fatigue. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think a lot of us were taught just push through everything.
Yeah.
And then eventually, you keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing.
Mhm.
And then something in you's like, sit your behind down.
No,
you
because
know,
I mean,
yeah,
I feel like it could be seen as a form of weakness, and no one wants to come off as not being able to do something. So they just keep on pushing. But like you said, that's not healthy in the long run.
it's not
And less,
healthy.
I think it makes you less productive.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could. I know when I go on vacation, no, I can't wait for COVID to be over so I can go on vacation. When I come home from vacation, I'm more refreshed. I may not feel like working, but I feel a little
Mhm.
more pep in my step to,
Right.
you know, um, it's different. Jesus, you will often see him going aside to pray or going aside to sleep.
Mhm.
It was like, obviously he's teaching us something.
Yeah.
If he can go aside to pray, go aside, take a nap.
Mhm.
Try to. Some days you may not be able to, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm put an organ behind you. Start tuning you up when you talk. Um,
Uh-uh.
but, but that's actually a good question though. So you don't push yourself. I believe in pushing ourselves. I believe God gives us the strength to do stuff. We can do all things. We can do all that. But I think, if God tells us to honor, um, the Sabbath in a figurative way, because there is a figurative
Mhm.
way also where it's a lifestyle for a believer,
Mhm.
but he also embedded in there for a purpose. You don't live off your work, and everything you have doesn't come from how hard you work. Remember,
Mhm.
I provide for you.
Mhm.
So work hard. Look, work hard. If you got to stay up late, stay up late. Do what you got to do. Work hard.
Yeah.
Do all that good stuff. Um, and also the thing too. You know what? Working hard, eating right helps you work harder too.
I knew you were gonna say something about that.
I'm just saying it is.
Yeah,
It is.
it's true.
Eating right makes you feel better. You work better. You feel better. All that stuff. Um, yeah. And a lot of people, you got to learn to turn your phone off sometimes too. Put it down. It ain't no emergency. I'll answer this email later. People think because you
Mhm.
got a cell phone, you have to immediately answer them. And I'm like, unless it's like certain people get, yes, I will pick up the phone in a heartbeat, you know, but sometimes I'll get it later.
Have you discovered focus mode yet?
What's that?
your phone automatically goes on silent. Like you can set scheduled times of when to not be disturbed.
No, I haven't done that yet. Well, I'm me. I can see it and won't feel bad at all. I just let it go to voicemail or I'll respond to it later. You know, I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel that. I don't feel that pressure.
Yeah,
I know that sounds bad. I just honestly don't. I don't feel the pressure.
that's good though. It's good because that I'll speak for myself. So I've become too attached to my phone. If
Mm,
I forget it, I'm missing a limb or something.
mm.
As you're on your phone right now.
Yeah, well, I forgot. Something happened. I forgot. I
Uh,
forgot. See if I got to send somebody.
but yeah.
Um, but I think that. Oops, tomorrow. But
It,
I keep mine on just in case somebody calls, something happens. I need to be able to get
mm-hmm.
respond to the call. So, but our electronics, the more technological we become, and the more we can quickly interact with each other, the more we're going to have issues emotionally because it's just there was something to calling somebody's house back in the day, and you wouldn't hear back from them until they got home and heard your voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
It was it was a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
It really was, and you just had to wait.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, I thank God we got cell phones. We can get to people faster if something happens. But I think there was something to being able to disconnect back in the day where
Mm-hmm.
you actually could live life. I miss events where people will go and actually enjoy the event and no cell phones were out.
I'm guilty of that though.
I mean, I may take a picture or play a little video, but there's something about the live experience.
To
How
be in the experience.
to be yeah, to actually be in it. You can take a picture, take a little small video to document it, but people got their cameras out the whole like how you enjoy this thing really if you just or because we want to put it on the gram or all that stuff. It's like just
Yeah. You gotta relive it. You gotta relive the moment.
no, I mean I don't mind some pictures, some videos, but I'm talking about the whole event. You miss the power of the event and the nuance of it
Yeah.
if you're preoccupied with your phone out. It just
Yeah.
it's, anyway. It's I gotta go soon. But to experience the possibilities of life, um,
A rotary phone.
what sacrifices need to be made in order to get there? Time,
Mm-hmm.
sleep, some things. What does that require to reach that goal? And
Yeah.
knowing how
And
to balance that.
this might be a topic for another time, but I think letting go of the resentment of making those sacrifices or even resentment of the process, because I feel like that can hold us back too.
We can talk about that next week
Yeah,
if you remember.
I
Yeah,
remember.
because most people resent the process.
Hmm.
They don't like having to do certain things
Hmm.
to get there.
Yeah,
Um,
and they don't appreciate the journey.
yeah, and, and I get it. There's some things I don't like. Some things I don't enjoy the process at all. I enjoy the results, not the process.
Hmm.
You know, I enjoy that. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Um, and when you learn to enjoy the outcome, it helps you manage the process better.
Hmm.
You know, and I think that's important.
Yeah.
You didn't
That
even
was
see it.
funny.
You didn't even see it, do you?
Oh, that last comment.
No. Look at your name on the
Oh,
screen. Thank
first
you,
of all, you spelled
Helene.
my name wrong.
Thank you, Elaine. Who spelled your name wrong?
It's a capital B.
Oh,
That capital B is important in my family.
whatever. You worry about that little small semantic. Shut up.
Okay, Pastor Nick.
Right? How do we get our okay? How do we I'm playing. How do we get out of this to show how we teach our children to slow down? They won't even read directions to put a toy together anymore. That's because everybody's so used to everything so quick and fast now. No,
Yeah.
Helene. No, thank you, Helene. Thank you. No, don't be sorry. Thank you.
I appreciate you. I wish Bishop was on for this right now. I appreciate
No.
you. Thank you. um, honestly, with my kids, I make if I buy them a toy or something, we got to put it together. I've learned to start. Well, now not the youngest one, but more the oldest one. Let's put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it together so you could appreciate the process.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's there. But anyway, uh, we'll talk more about this next week. So I got to run. Uh, and we're glad you guys can join us on Maximize Monday. We love you all. We hope you guys enjoy your day. Let me see. Can you write down, say the phrase outcome again too? Oh, when you, I'm not going to say it the same way, but when you enjoy the outcome or the fruits, it helps you enjoy the process or helps you navigate the process or do the process. I may not like, for instance, I don't like working out. I didn't like going to the gym, but I like the outcome of what the gym produced.
Yeah.
And that helps you enjoy the process a little more when you focus on what it's producing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And maybe that's the problem. People don't know what their end goal is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you're just doing it. Well, what do you want out of this?
Mm-hmm.
And when you focus on what you want out of it, it helps you manage the process better.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. I'm late. I really got to go. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.